you have a job description, but you have a job posting. And I think the job description is something internal that you use to evaluate
Mhm.
employees, manage them, be able to do your performance reviews and see, are you meeting these responsibilities? Do you have these traits day to day, all that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
But the
Mhm.
job posting is what we're talking about here of like, hey, are we hitting the keywords and phrases that people are searching for? Are we hitting the
Yeah.
values that they actually care about? Are we hitting the things that actually make people want to stay here? Um, and having those job postings is very, very valuable. And obviously, it takes some legwork to get those things developed. But once you do have them in place, you're hiring for not the same roles always, but very similar roles that you can use that
Absolutely.
information across the board.
How
And
do
I
you
think I
actually
wanted to
use I'm sorry.
No, please,
Well, I was
Martin.
just gonna ask, how do you actually use technology to accomplish what we're talking about?
Okay,
Well,
thanks for
she
asking.
mentioned
I was
the ATS, right? The
Yeah.
applicant tracking system allows you to
Okay,
put the posts inside of the applicant tracking system,
into a
and
lot of
then
places.
it sends it
Mhm.
to a lot of places. But when they apply, they all come back into the applicant tracking system, so you don't have to go into Indeed and then Monster and then wherever to see who all's there. They all come into one funnel. Is that right?
That's right, and so you're able to look at them all in one place. You're also able to tag applicants so you can know that this person, has this skill set or what have you, so you're building your bench. It may not You may be only hiring for one particular position for one particular skill set, but you want to keep people because 'cause you're like, "Man, I've actually got 3 candidates, but I only have 1 job function to fill." So you're able to tag those candidates. Another thing with technology is you can ask qualifying questions. So while they're coming all from one funnel, when you click apply on Indeed, or you're actually applying within the applicant tracking system, and you can ask questions. So maybe that's a qualifying skill question. Maybe that's something about years of experience, or have you done a certain type of work? You can ask those qualifying questions early on in the process without having to have someone that's calling or evaluating every single resume and interpreting how it's written on that resume. And then through that, if someone doesn't meet those qualifying questions, you can have canned emails that allow you to use information from that application to say, "Thank you, John. I'm sorry, but based on this information, you do not qualify for our job, but please stay tuned to click here, our career page for re- you know, additional opportunities in the future." So there's ways to build efficiencies around the qualification of candidates, as well as making sure that you have that one central repository for those candidates in the future. So you can nurture those. Maybe you send out an employee newsletter and you send out a version to those that bench. And you're able to make sure that they are staying in tune with, wow, this is really a company I want to pay attention to. Look at all the cool things they're doing at their employee
Yeah.
picnic, things like that. So with with that technology, you're able to kind of have that single source where all of your applicants come from. You're also able to say, "Oh, wait, this is that person that's applied to every single job that we posted, and they're not going to qualify." You're also
Mhm.
able to manage your interview process. So through this system, you can say, "Supervisor X, please evaluate this candidate and send me your information back on what you thought of that person via this system." So you have it all in one place.
So this is great, and I think a point I wanna hit on for this, for the ATS and the things you mentioned, like following up with employees, with a rejection if they don't fit, following up with the time to schedule really quickly, uh, being able to tag them for future communications and future job posts, whatever it is, and then also doing the qualifying. This is all about really, in my opinion, a user experience, right? And it's really important because just like you probably care about what's on your website because you want customers to feel a certain way when they engage with your company and with your brand, all of these applicants are engaging with your company and they're getting an experience. And if you give them a really poor experience, it's less likely that they're going to want to be a part of that company, that they're going to treat your company seriously whenever you do an interview. But if you handle it extremely professionally, if you give them reasons to believe that this is a great place to work at, not only are they going to be more bought into the interview process, into starting the job on day one. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that have hired and then they don't show up for the actual first day, but also, whenever a friend is thinking about a job, even if they don't work for you, but their friend's like, man, I need to apply. Hey, you should check out this company because they had such a great experience. And so if you have that great user experience because you are organized, because you're detailed, because you are responsive using an ATS, you're going to get better applicants down the road. It's only going to, become a flywheel that grows and grows and grows for your company. So really great points. My only question is, this seems like a full-time job. So what is it like for the contractor that's got 8 employees? Is it feasible for them to implement this ATS on their own? What roles do you see actually managing the ATS? Is it full-time HR person, or is it just an office manager? What's practical for that 8-person construction company that is hiring maybe 6 roles a year? What do you
Mhm.
recommend?
Absolutely. So it's definitely not for everyone. We see that contractors that are anywhere from 30 to 50 employees, that's kind of the threshold, especially once you get up to 50 employees, because then you're having to look at really digging into your employee data, FMLA, ACA compliance, things like that. That's when those tools and being able to have a centralized place for your hiring and employee data is really important. When we're working with contractors with, say, like you mentioned, 8 to say 20, 30, 40 employees, we're talking to them more about electronic timekeeping. So using an app to help with clocking in and clocking out, helping with attribution for, I spent this much time on carpentry or I spent this much time on this job so that you can easily estimate
Yeah.
out future jobs, but also making sure you're not getting time theft. So for a company of, say, 40 employees, if they have employees that are saying they're working 8 hours a day, but they're actually only working 7 hours and 40 minutes a day, over a year, that's almost $50,000 of time theft. So being
Yeah.
able to not just have a clipboard with a piece of paper or someone clocking everyone in at one time, but having an application where someone clocks in, clocks out, you're able to tell them where to go for each day via a scheduling tool. All of that may be more appropriate for helping to build efficiencies within HR with a timekeeping solution versus an applicant tracking system for an 8-person contracting firm.
Yeah.
But your
Yeah.
module, you can add the ATS later on as you grow
Mhm.
into it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's not a start stop portion. We have some people that just come in and say, I want the learning management solution. I need an online solution to deliver coursework to my employees, or I just need a performance management solution. So it can be modular.
Yeah. Okay, so that ATS is really important. It kind of covers that first part of what I typically see. Let's jump to, and I'm sure the ATS helps with some of the onboarding, or is that a different module?
There is an additional module, but the great part about it is the information that's captured in the applicant tracking system transfers over to the ATS. So you're
Okay.
able to take some of that valuable data and then be able to kick off the solution within the ATS and
Mm,
perhaps even
okay.
send a text to say, click here to complete your paperwork before your start date or on your start date.